Despite Fire Emblem Engage having been finished for quite a bit of time before release and having many potential unused content actually be removed in the final product, it still has a few things that were left on the cutting room floor, hidden within the game's files that our normal playthrough would never see. Today we briefly go over unused content in Fire Emblem Engage, from character data on Elyos royalty, unused stats and quotes, and a lot of stuff about Ephraim. Of course there are spoilers here, so you've been warned. Unused character data. King and Queens of Elyos. Let's start with Queen Eve, King Morion, and Queen Sephoria. Even though none of them are ever seen in battle in the final game, and when Morion is, he's turned into a corrupted and thus is given different data, all three of them have unique content for battle that can be seen only if they're deployed through mods. If I had to make a guess, all three of them were maybe intended to appear during gameplay as NPCs before intelligent systems changed their minds during development. All three sovereigns are internally set to use advanced classes at level 1, with Eve being a High Priestess, Morion being a hero, and Sephoria being a Wyvern Knight, and were given unused descriptions when examined through the status screen. Interestingly, only Eve and Morion have voice clips meant for battle, grunts, critical lines, you name it, and Sephoria, by comparison, was given only animation data to work with, which isn't really anything special. Finally, none of them have assigned portraits nor class sprites.
Don't even try! I will remain standing. You're hopeless! Victorious! Who's next? It's over for the people of Brodia!
Unused Ages. While most Engage fans have probably heard about this one, you may be surprised to hear that this data didn't go entirely unused. The simple gist of it is that many characters from Engage have a hidden age stat which is impossible to see normally. In spite of this, the main reason this data isn't quite dummied out is because when using Somniel's Dining Hall, some characters also gain extra bonuses depending on some factors such as class type, gender, and even age, which is where the hidden age value comes into play. This still doesn't make the system free of oddities, however. For one, the threshold used to determine which characters are considered old can be very arbitrary, which causes bizarre side effects when characters like Saphir and Vander, both who are veterans in universe, are listed as 35 and 45 years old internally and respectively, all while Linden is given the age of 60 instead. Second, both Alear and Vale are internally 17 and 16-year-old teenagers, even though they're both over 1,000 in universe because they're dragons. But you could kind of understand this one, I guess. And finally, third, the non-playable hounds also get internal ages even though they don't really have any use for it. For those wondering, they share the same ages as their Winds counterparts. And conversely, both Nell and Rafal are the only playable characters who weren't given an age value. Unused Growths. Normally in Engage, all enemies have null growths in their data due to their stats being assigned manually. In spite of this, however, Zephyr, Gris, Marnie, Past Alear, and Corrupted Lumera are the only NPCs who have proper growths assigned to them. For those wondering, both the playable and enemy versions of Alear have almost the exact same growths, save for strength, which is a bit higher for the enemy version. In the case of the Hounds versus the Winds, only Zephyr's growths were reused for Celestia's. By comparison, both Gregory and Madeline ended up being downgrades to Gris and Marnie respectively. Unused victory quotes. In what's an interesting turn of events, Sombron, Evil Vale, Lumera, Zephyr, Gris, Marnie, and King Hyacinth have a set of voice clips meant for when they defeat an enemy in battle, which can't be seen through normal circumstances due to none of them being actually playable. Take a listen to some of them.
How pathetic. Did that hurt? I did it, Father.
I've won. Be still. I am not a defect.
You thought you could defeat me? Ugh, my head for Lord Sombron.
Wicked child. No more waiting. Wonderful. We will be together forever.
Ephraim. A lot of Ephraim. Saying Ephraim was mistreated in Engage would honestly be an understatement, as almost 90% of his data went unseen. To be more specific, he has, in the game's code, a full set of combat voice lines except criticals, but you only hear grunts at best when doing the twin strike attack.
Not bad.
There's also a whole unused amiibo outfit for his armor. There's no text left associated with it, but the model itself and the asset entry for it exists in the assets for testing and debugging. His weapon, Siegmund, also exists in the code, which, while technically used for Twin Strike, also has a unique and valid item entry, meaning it's possible through mods to use it as a standalone weapon. No icon was given for it though, as by default it uses a blacked out Siegmund icon. And finally, he has full animation data for UI, battle, etc. And since we were just talking about weapons, standalone emblem weapons, both Leaf's Master Bow and Corrin's Dragon Fang also exist as standalone weapons rather than just as part of their respective emblems' engage attacks, and can be accessed through hacking. And unlike Siegmund, both weapons do have proper icons for the item menu, but due to Dragon Fang's unique properties, it's not really possible to equip it. Unused Alear Shout. While every playable character goes out of the way to avoid calling Alear by name and instead go with Divine One to account for the fact that they can be renamed, every one of them also have a dummied out voice clip where they specifically shout Alear, which happens to be located right next to the voice clips used for calling their recently equipped emblem in the preparations menu.
Alear!
Alear!
Alear.
Alear!
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 Alear. Alear.
I'm just guessing here, but I would wager there's a solid chance this clip was intended to be used when Alear's name was kept as it is, and if they later were selected in the emblems menu before starting a map after Chapter 22, after Alear became an emblem themselves. Scrapped Engage outfit for Tiki's emblem. This is kind of an honorary mention. Within the entries for Engage's costumes, as in the outfits characters use while engaging with an emblem, after applying the DLC content, there is one extra outfit entry listed for Tiki which no longer contains any data to draw from. Thanks to the last Nintendo Dream interview of the game, we know what that once was. At one point during the DLC's development, Tiki's emblem had a humanoid emblem outfit in case its user was unable to transform into a dragon when engaging with her, seemingly because the transformation wasn't always guaranteed early on. But given that this became an impossibility in the final version of the DLC, any assets related to the outfit can no longer be found by data mining. And that's it. That about wraps it up for unused content in Engage. Like I said before, if there was anything more interesting that could have ever been found, it was likely removed since the game had been finished for quite a bit and didn't have a rushed production, so they could remove it. But still, there are some cool finds here, namely stuff having to do with Ephraim and some battle quotes that go unused. With that all being said, it might not be as intriguing or as huge as unused content from other Fire Emblem games, but that's probably for the best, all things considered. Still though, I do wish more was done for Ephraim. But what do you all think? Anything strike you as surprising or interesting? Let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to leave a like while you're there. The channel is almost at 108,000 subscribers, so if you're someone who is watching but you haven't clicked subscribe yet, please consider it. It would mean a lot. And finally, if you want to support the channel even more, you can always become a member. Thank you so much for watching. Deuces.
Thank you.